In the mid-1990s, Bad Boy Records, founded by Sean Diddy Combs, then known as Puff Daddy, was riding high on the wave of success that followed the debut of his star artist, the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie's groundbreaking 1994 album Ready to Die had cemented Bad Boy as a force to be reckoned with in hip-hop, and Puff Daddy had earned a reputation as one of the most savvy, ambitious, and business-minded individuals in the music industry. However, as 1997 approached, Bad Boy faced a critical turning point. The shocking murder of the Notorious B.I.G. on March 9, 1997 had shaken the foundation of the label. Biggie was more than just an artist. He was the cornerstone of Bad Boy's rise to dominance in the hip-hop world. His death left a massive void, not just for the label, but also for Diddy personally. Bad Boy needed to show resilience in the face of this loss, and Puff Daddy was determined to keep the label at the top. Amidst this turbulent time, the emergence of a new star would prove to be instrumental in keeping Bad Boy's momentum alive. That star was Mase, whose presence would redefine Bad Boy's sound, image, and ultimately the trajectory of hip-hop culture in the late 90s. Mase's journey to signing with Bad Boy Records started in Harlem, New York, where he grew up. His initial stage name was Murder Mase, and he was part of a Harlem-based rap collective called Children of the Corn, which also included future rap legends like Big L and Cam'ron. Despite being immersed in the hardcore street-oriented sound that was popular in Harlem, Mase had a charm and natural ability to adapt to different styles. It was this versatility that would catch the attention of Sean Combs. Diddy had a unique ear for talent, but more importantly, he had an even sharper sense for what could sell on a mass scale. He didn't just look for raw talent, he looked for charisma, marketability, and the ability to connect with mainstream audiences. In Mase, he saw the potential to fill the void left by Biggie's death, but also take the label in a new, more radio-friendly direction. Diddy discovered Mase after hearing him rap on a demo tape. There was something special in Mase's delivery, a smooth, laid-back flow that was a departure from the gritty, aggressive style of many of his contemporaries. His voice was distinctly mellow but still authoritative, and his persona had the mass appeal he was looking for. Mase had the swagger of Harlem, the lyrical ability to hold his own, and most importantly, Diddy saw someone who could appeal to both the streets and suburban audiences. After being introduced to Diddy by Kuda Love, a mutual friend and business associate, Mase signed with Bad Boy in 1996. The timing was impeccable. Diddy was preparing for the next phase of Bad Boy, and Mase would become a central figure in the label's strategy to dominate not just hip-hop, but mainstream pop culture. Mase's big break came in 1997 when he was prominently featured on Puff Daddy's debut album, No Way Out. The album was an enormous success, and Mase's contributions, particularly on the smash hit Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, helped to catapult him into the spotlight. Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, a feel-good anthem with an infectious hook and glossy production, showcased Mase's unique blend of street credibility and crossover appeal. This marked the beginning of what would be known as the shiny suit era in hip-hop, a period defined by flashy videos, glossy production, and a more polished pop-influenced sound. Puff Daddy, always the trendsetter, pioneered this movement with Mase at his side. Together, they embodied the larger-than-life persona of hip-hop's commercial ascendance. Mase's nonchalant, effortless delivery provided the perfect counterbalance to Puff's more animated, hyper-energetic style. During this time, Bad Boy Records became synonymous with luxury, style, and opulence. Music videos featured extravagant settings, bright lights, high-fashion clothing, and iconic shiny suits that symbolized the ostentatiousness of the era. Mase fit perfectly into this aesthetic. His ability to combine slick rhymes with a cool, calm demeanor made him a fan favorite and a staple of radio and MTV. Mase's debut album, Harlem World, was released in October 1997, just months after the success of No Way Out. Diddy, the mastermind, ensured that Harlem World had all the elements of a blockbuster album. He co-executive produced the project, bringing in top-tier producers and collaborators, including Jermaine Dupri, the Neptunes, and Lil' Kim, among others. The album was a massive success, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and eventually going quadruple platinum. It featured hit singles like Feel So Good, What You Want, and Looking At Me, all of which showcased Mase's signature smooth flow and charismatic delivery. Feel So Good in particular became an anthem, with its catchy hook sampled from Kool and the Gang's Hollywood Swingin', making it a fixture on radio and MTV. Harlem World was more than just an album, it was a cultural moment. It solidified Mase as one of the biggest rappers of the era, and his success was closely intertwined with Diddy's vision for Bad Boy. The album's blend of pop-friendly beats, radio-ready hooks, and Mase's laid-back, relatable persona resonated with a wide audience, bridging the gap between hardcore hip-hop fans and mainstream listeners. The chemistry between Mase and Diddy was undeniable. Diddy had the business acumen, vision, and promotional prowess, while Mase brought the star power, charisma, and undeniable talent. Together, they embodied the aspirational, larger-than-life energy of the late 90s. Mase and Diddy had made Bad Boy Records the defining label of the era, and their partnership was at the forefront of a movement that would shape the future of hip-hop. Mase's success was not isolated. It came during a period when Bad Boy Records was dominating the music industry as a collective. The label's roster, which included artists like The Lox, Total, 112, and Faith Evans, helped create a unified Bad Boy sound that was instantly recognizable. Diddy was the orchestrator behind it all, and Mase was one of the key figures driving Bad Boy's success. Collaborations between Mase and other Bad Boy artists were frequent and often resulted in hit records. For example, Mase's work with Total on the track What About Us and his collaborations with 112 on Love Me highlighted the seamless synergy within the Bad Boy camp. The label was more than just a group of artists, it was a family, and Mase was one of its biggest stars. As Mase's popularity grew, so did his influence on hip-hop culture. His distinctive style, including his fashion choices and his swagger, became a template for other artists who followed in his footsteps. The Harlem World brand, which was initially the title of his debut album, evolved into a broader cultural reference, encapsulating the flashy, confident attitude that Mase embodied. Throughout 1997 and 1998, Diddy and Mase continued their hit-making streak. Mase was heavily involved in Diddy's solo work, contributing to hits like Been Around the World and Victory. Their collaborations were marked by an unmistakable chemistry, with Puff's flashy, high-energy persona balanced by Mase's laid-back delivery. Beyond their own work, Diddy and Mase influenced a broader sound of hip-hop. Diddy's approach to production, which often involved sampling classic 80s pop and funk songs, became a defining feature of the Bad Boy sound. Mase's ability to ride these beats with his smooth, effortless flow made him a perfect fit for the sound that Diddy was creating. While some critics decried Bad Boy's sound as being too commercial or too reliant on pop influences, there was no denying its popularity. Diddy and Mase's collaboration helped to usher in a new era of hip-hop that was more polished, accessible, and radio-friendly. They proved that hip-hop could not only dominate the streets, but also the charts and the airwaves. In 1999, at the height of his career, just after his sophomore album Double Up was released, Mase shocked the world by announcing his retirement from rap. He claimed to have found God, expressing a desire to focus on his faith and leave behind the materialism and violence associated with the music industry. Mase's departure left a significant void at Bad Boy. His decision was sudden, and for Diddy, it meant the loss of one of his most successful and marketable artists. Many fans believe this was solely a spiritual decision, but there were underlying issues between Mase and Diddy that contributed to his departure. Mase's abrupt exit left Diddy in a difficult position. Not only did he lose one of his biggest stars, but he also lost a significant revenue stream. At the time, Mase's Harlem World was quadruple platinum, and his presence had become integral to Bad Boy's brand. Mase's exit marked a major shift for both the label and Diddy, who had relied heavily on Mase to fill the void left by the death of the Notorious B.I.G. Mase's retirement marked the end of an era for Bad Boy Records. While the label would continue to have success with other artists, the dynamic partnership between Puff Daddy and Mase represented a unique period in hip-hop history. Together, they had defined a sound and an era that transcended the boundaries of hip-hop and made an indelible mark on mainstream music. Like many artists at the time, Mase reportedly felt that the financial terms of his contract were skewed heavily in favor of the label and its owner, Diddy. Artists often signed deals early in their careers without fully understanding the long-term implications, and Mase was no exception. When he began to realize that he wasn't earning as much as he felt he deserved from his work, tension started to build, ultimately resulting in his departure. As for his transition into being a pastor, Mase went on to study at Clark Atlanta University, pursuing religious studies to deepen his understanding of theology and biblical teaching. In the early 2000s, Mase was ordained as a pastor and founded his own church. This marked a pivotal moment in his transition from rap superstar to a spiritual leader. He adopted the title Pastor Mase in Betha and focused on building his ministry. Mase would lead the Gathering Oasis Church in Atlanta, where he served as the head pastor. His church attracted a diverse congregation, including former fans of his music who were curious about his spiritual transformation. Some people were skeptical of Mase's sudden transformation. Critics questioned the authenticity of his conversion, wondering if his decision to leave the music industry was genuine or if he would eventually return to his former lifestyle. Despite his dedication to his ministry, Mase still faced temptations to return to the world of entertainment. He remained connected to former collaborators and friends from the music industry, which made it difficult for him to fully distance himself from his old life. Mase would then re-emerge in 2004 with his third studio album, Welcome Back. The album, released under Bad Boy Records, marked his official return to the mainstream music scene after 5 years of silence. Unlike his earlier work, Welcome Back presented a cleaner, more radio-friendly sound that reflected his spiritual transformation. The title track, Welcome Back, was a lighthearted and catchy single that sampled the theme song from the popular 1970s sitcom, Welcome Back, Kotter. Even though Welcome Back was moderately successful, Mase struggled with the dual roles of being both a rapper and a pastor. His congregation expressed concerns about his return to an industry known for promoting values that clashed with his faith, and some felt that he was compromising his religious convictions. Mase's next attempt at a comeback came when he sought to join 50 Cent's G-Unit Records in 2005. He was eager to regain his street credibility and reconnect with his original fanbase. Mase appeared on a few G-Unit mixtapes including Crucified for the Hood, and rumors circulated that he was working on an album titled Welcome Back to the Dark Side. His affiliation with G-Unit signaled a shift back to a harder, more street-oriented style. Mase's decision to rebrand himself was driven by the success of 50 Cent and G-Unit's dominance in the early 2000s, and Mase believed that aligning with them would help him reconnect with a younger, more aggressive hip-hop audience. Unfortunately, this comeback was halted due to Mase's contractual obligations to Bad Boy Records. Diddy reportedly refused to release Mase from his contract, which prevented him from officially signing with G-Unit. In an interview with Howard Stern, 50 Cent outlined this, stating,
"He got inspired by the things that were going on around him, and he created some material that I was excited about. And when we came back with me and Puff to try and make the deal, he was being unreasonable." Wow. I think he felt like Mase was like the last piece to his legacy, considering Biggie's not there and the Locks is gone. And
this conflict over contracts was a major reason why Mase's collaboration with 50 Cent fizzled out, and Mase once again retreated from the spotlight. During this period, Mase's presence in the hip-hop scene became sporadic. He made guest appearances on various tracks and remixes, collaborating with prominent artists, but never fully committed to releasing a new album. Signaling his willingness to engage with the new generation of hip-hop, a track titled What You Do was premiered in 2012, furthering speculation that he might release new music. However, these appearances were fleeting, and no significant projects followed. In 2016, Mase rejoined the Bad Boy family for the Bad Boy Family Reunion Tour, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the label. The tour featured classic Bad Boy acts like Lil Kim, Faith Evans, The Locks, and 112, and Mase's performance was one of the highlights. Despite past tensions, Mase seemed to have temporarily reconciled with Diddy for the sake of the reunion tour. This tour allowed Mase to reconnect with his fanbase and relive his 1990s glory alongside his Bad Boy peers. Fans were excited to see Mase performing hits like Feel So Good and Mo Money, Mo Problems, and the tour was largely a success. However, while the reunion showed Mase could still command a stage, it didn't lead to new music or a long-term return to the spotlight. Despite Mase's presence at the Bad Boy Reunion Tour, with what seemed to be a reconciliation between him and Diddy, he would go on to air grievances about Diddy's business practices, suggesting that Diddy exploited him and other artists signed to Bad Boy. He accused Diddy of taking a large percentage of his earnings and holding on to his publishing rights, which meant that Diddy continued to profit from Mase's music long after he had left the label. On January 6, 2020, Diddy would be the recipient of the Icon Award at the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards. In his speech, he advocated for the fair treatment of black artists, stating,
"Y'all got 365 days to get this together. We need the artists to take back the control. We need transparency. We need diversity."
This didn't rub Mase the right way, and he would then go on to publicly persecute him for hypocrisy in an Instagram post shortly after. Mase specifically addressed these issues, claiming that Diddy still owned his publishing rights decades after he had left Bad Boy, and that Diddy had rejected Mase's offer of $2 million to buy back his publishing. Mase accused Diddy of demanding a higher price, one closer to the market value of the publishing rights, despite Mase's willingness to pay what he felt was a fair sum. In the same post, Mase also implied that Diddy's treatment of artists was hypocritical, given Diddy's public statements advocating for black ownership and fair business practices within the music industry. This would reignite the general sentiment that Diddy did not give his artists their fair share. In October 2022, during an interview with The Breakfast Club, Diddy attempted to clear his name amidst accusations of robbing his artists. Diddy mockingly said,
"You know, the Mase thing, I did one album with Mase. One album. How much money do you think I owe this guy? One album, and then he became a fake pastor and went and conned people, and then y'all gonna let him throw dirt on the God's name?"
Later in the interview, Diddy also claimed that Mase owed him $3 million for an advance that was never repaid, which he said covered a planned album that Mase didn't deliver, stating,
"Mase owes me $3 million. That's facts, I got the receipt."
He further expressed his frustration over being labeled as exploitative and felt Mase's accusations were misleading and unfair. Diddy closed the matter by stating,
"Not trying to start nothing with nobody. Mase, I love Mase. And I will tell anybody thinks I owe him something, show me the receipt. You get paid in 24 hours.
Shortly after, in response to Diddy's Breakfast Club interview, Mase took to his Mase Television YouTube channel to respond to Diddy's receipt statement. In an aggressive and clearly angered manner, Mase exulted,
"Yo, I did this told me he want receipts. Let's start with your mother. Your mother got the receipts. Everything is in your mother's name. That's the one who got the receipts. You need more proof? Biggie ain't here, so Big can't give you no receipts. He dead. Craig Mack can't give you receipts. He dead. What are you talking about?"
These claims countered Diddy's confident and seemingly honest demeanor on The Breakfast Club. In September 2023, Diddy made a seemingly notable decision to return the publishing rights to several artists on his Bad Boy Records label. This move included significant figures like Mase, The Lox, Faith Evans, and the estates of the Notorious B.I.G. and Craig Mack. According to Billboard, a Bad Boy representative who wished to stay anonymous told them that the process actually began in May 2021, after Diddy had received various offers to sell the catalog. Many industry insiders believe that the timing reflects Diddy's desire to address his legacy and make amends with his former artists. He aimed to clear up any lingering conflicts and potentially to reshape his image in the light of past criticisms about exploiting artists. On his It Is What It Is podcast, co-hosted by fellow rapper Cameron, Mase opened up about his decision to leave the industry, and more specifically Bad Boy. He emphasized that the decision wasn't entirely due to personal issues with Diddy, but rather a larger sense that his purpose in life was evolving. Mase believed he needed to step back from an industry that didn't align with his values at that time, and he expressed no regrets about leaving, even if it led to financial challenges or a more difficult career journey. Mase stated,
"Everything now that we see playing out was all the things I escaped. The car, the shine, the loan, Puff Daddy, the Craig Mack,
Biggie Smalls.
the Biggie Smalls. So even though I made those decisions and it cost me money, that's why I got with Killer and they gave me the money back. I didn't lose no money. Destiny."
Implying that he believes his decision to leave the industry was actually his shield and protection from all of the controversy surrounded by Diddy and Bad Boy Records throughout the years. Mase truly believed he needed to step back from an industry that didn't align with his values at that time, and believes he is where he's meant to be right now. He now sees his life and career as part of a larger story that transcends the typical markers of success, such as fame and wealth. Instead, he values his influence and platform, including his role on It Is What It Is, where he and Cameron discuss life, culture, hip-hop, and sports. Rather than focusing solely on conflicts with Diddy, he's presented his departure as a necessary step in his own path towards self-discovery and fulfillment. The partnership between Puff Daddy and Mase was one of the most successful and culturally impactful in hip-hop history. They didn't just make music, they created a movement that defined an era. Together, they helped to make Bad Boy Records the most dominant force in hip-hop during the late 1990s, and their contributions to the genre continue to influence artists and producers to this day. Mase's smooth, laid-back flow and Diddy's vision for glossy, commercially viable hip-hop made them a perfect pair, and their music continues to resonate with fans years later. From the success of Harlem World to the Shiny Suit era, the duo left an indelible mark on the genre, blending street credibility with mainstream appeal in a way that few artists had done before. Their success was not just about the fact that they made hit records. It was about creating a cultural movement that embodied the aspirational, larger-than-life energy of hip-hop in the late 90s. While their partnership may have been relatively brief before souring over finances, its impact was far-reaching, and the legacy of Diddy and Mase together remains one of the most iconic collaborations in hip-hop history.